gentlemen, Joe Cochran. Oh, welcome sports fans to tonight's contest featuring the Northern Kentucky Norse and your IPFW Mastodons. First, the starters for the visiting Norse. A 5'8" senior from Cali, Colombia, number 4, Luisa Gomez. A 5'8" sophomore from Louisville, Kentucky, number 5, Sarah Taylor. A 5'11" sophomore from Cincinnati, Ohio, number 7, Cammie Welker. A 5'11" senior from Lakeside Park, Kentucky, number 10, Bethany Gastrite. A 6'1" senior from Anna, Ohio, number 12, Denise Barhors. And a 5'11" senior from Cincinnati, Ohio, number 15, Julie Haythorne. Head coach is Carlos Chia. He is assisted by Chris Stickley. And now, the starters for your IPFW Mastodons. A 6-foot senior from Fort Wayne, Indiana, number 4, Chrissy Miller. A 5'9" senior from Moreland, Indiana, number 6, Deanna Brown. A 5'11" senior from Newcastle, Indiana, number 9, Jenny Miller. A 5'8" freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana, number 10, Janelle Pollard. A 6-foot freshman from Temperance, Michigan, number 12, Mo Meinhardt. And a 5'4" freshman from Temperance, Michigan, number 13, Lindy Bankowski. Head coach of the Dons is Kelly Hartley. She is assisted by Colin Leiter, graduate assistant Tammy Ish, and student manager Sarah Anderson. Ladies and gentlemen, special fans in attendance tonight, we have the Couch Potatoes, Mitch Drybach and Nick Bellman.
Gate Sports Center on the campus of IPFW for the first Division I athletic telecast of the new season. Today it's women's volleyball action as the IPFW Mastodons take on the Northern Kentucky Norse. Hi again, everybody. This is Ryan Perrott. Glad to be working my third season with College 56, and also glad to have with me my broadcast partner for all 3 of those years, IPFW men's assistant volleyball coach, Mark Franke. Mark, one of the greatest rivalries in all of collegiate women's athletics, IPFW and Northern Kentucky.
It's been quite a rivalry. Until this year, IPFW and Northern Kentucky have the last probably 6 years been competing for the number 1 spot in the GLVC. Of course, we're not in that conference anymore, and the rivalry has somewhat lessened because of that.
IPFW in the blues. Northern Kentucky to the attack first. There's the kill by number 10, Bethany Gastrite.
That's no surprise that she would get the first set, was it?
One of the superstars on this Norse squad. Northern Kentucky in black, 10-4 overall record this season. They're undefeated in the GLVC at 5-0.
Oh, I don't think she's going to get away with that.
A lift called there on Lindy Bankowski, the new setter. Mark, a lot of new faces on this IPFW squad for third-year head coach Kelly Hartley.
And that's part of the reason this rivalry isn't what it used to be. Not only are we not in the conference anymore, but most of these players don't know much about the old rivalry. And Coach Hartley was telling me before the match that for that reason, she deliberately never mentioned it all week. They just looked at Northern Kentucky as one other non-conference opponent that they have to play.
Just a reminder that the telecast of this IPFW women's volleyball match is brought to you in part by Pizza Hut of Canterbury, featuring famous Pizza Hut pizza. Gastrite again from the left side.
One of the things that we're already falling out of game plan, Coach Hartley's calling a timeout.
Quick timeout. Let's take a break. IPFW trailing 4-0. Game 1 here at the Hilliard Gate Sports Center. IPFW trailing Northern Kentucky early 4-0. Left side, here's Deanna Brown. Her roll shot is long. 5-0. Let's clarify for the audience viewing, Mark. All the games now taking the international scoring system. The first 4 games will rally to 30. And the 5th game, should we go that far, Raleigh scored a 15. Must win by 2, no cap.
And all serves score points. And a service error like this scores a point against you for the other team.
IPFW finally on the scoreboard, 1 serving 5.
I think the reason Coach Hartley called that timeout is one of the game plans with Gastrite, of course, who's an outstanding offensive player, is to force her to go down the line. There we just did it. We got the block inside. She had to go down the line, and she has trouble with that shot. When she comes cross-court, which is her favorite shot, she's been quite effective. So that timeout worked. The adjustment was made on our block on the right side.
Bethany Gastrite, number 10 in black, leads Northern Kentucky in kills. There's a nice dig in the backcourt. Left side, Miller. Another back set. Nice block at the net by Jenny Miller and Chrissy Miller. No relation! And Jenny Miller with the stuff block there, one-on-one.
That was Cammie Welter. She's their leading offensive statistician this year, so to speak. You'd expect it to be Gastrite, but Welter, in fact, leads the statistical categories.
Janelle Pollard with the float serve. Nice up, Chrissy Miller in the front row. She goes to the attack down the line. Nice shot by number 4.
Miller didn't have an approach there. She was tight to the net and couldn't get off to make her approach, so she went down the line with a quick shot and got the point.
Chrissy Miller leads IPFW in kills, 4.5 a game. There's a service error by Janelle Pollard. Should mention also the new rules for women's volleyball this year. We are playing the let serve. Mark, explain.
The let serve is, I guess, taken from tennis. I'm not a tennis fan, so I've heard this, that if the ball touches the top of the net but does fall on the other side, it's a legal serve, where in the past, if it touched the net at all, it was a service error. And I think the let serve was critical to make rally scoring work, because rally scoring shifted the balance, I think, too much to the offense. And by allowing the let serve, it gave the defense, which is the serving team, an advantage.
Must be cautious with point per play. Gastrite again, great up by Sarah Leffers in the backcourt. Here's Miller again. Nice dig, number 7, Cammie Walter. Brown going on 2, and she puts it away. IPFW starting to find their legs. Perhaps a bit nervous, Mark, in the early beginning.
Well, actually, Northern Kentucky had a foul up there. Their blocking scheme broke down, and there was no block on our right side.
We're tied at 6 in game 1. Little miscommunication that time between number 5, Sarah Taylor, the setter, and number 15, Julie Hathorn.
Julie Hathorn is one of their middles. They do force the middle a lot, and they run it very quickly, and that was slow developing. I think that's what caused the problem.
Great serve by Sarah Leffers. Free ball here, IPFW. Miller, left side. Nice up, Leffers. Little dink. Back outside, Gastrite.
It forced her to go line again, and she couldn't get it through the block.
Back set, Brown. Good rally here. A lot of rallies in women's volleyball. Brown on the combination. Nice set there by number 13, Lindy Vankowski.
I think when Kelly moved Deanna Brown back to the opposite so she could play mostly on the right side and inside like that, it really brought her back to her offensive game.
Left side, Miller. Nice coverage play by IPFW. Here's an overpass. Meinhardt. Wow, Miller has seen a lot of balls early here on the left side, hitting at a nice percentage.
She has a nice high reach, Ryan. She gets the arms extended, and even if she has a slow approach there and can't put a lot of power into it, she's able to control the ball and get to the top of the block.
IPFW 9, Northern Kentucky 6. There's a nice shot there by number 4, Luisa Gomez. A lot of familiar faces if you've followed women's volleyball over the years. It should be noted, Mark, that IPFW has not defeated Northern Kentucky in the last 6 years.
That didn't have to be brought up. That's why Coach Hartley was not talking about it all week. In the past, a lot of pressure's been on these matches because typically they're at the end of the season, and the number 1 seed for the conference tournament's been at stake. Of course, this year, that's irrelevant.
Now that IPFW is under Division I schedule. There's a good dig by Miller. Here's Meinhardt in the middle. Off the hands, great soft block. Back set, Gomez. And a net violation that time called on number 4, Chrissy Miller. Great dig by number 3 of IPFW, Sarah Leffers.
I didn't see that net, but referee Mark Slaughter was right there. We'll take his word for it.
A micro touch on the net. 8 serving 10. Don't forget, we rally to 30 now. Here's a little backslide. And Meinhardt, number 12, is stuffed at the net by number 7, Cammie Walter.
Those blockers were waiting for that one, Ryan.
Back to serve number 4, Luisa Gomez, the senior out of Cali, Columbia. Back set, Brown. And Miller able to win the joust at the net.
In the conversation you and I were having with Coach Hartley before the match, you mentioned that the aggressiveness at the net will win a match like Northern Kentucky.
Usually
and that's exactly what we showed
Absolutely,
there.
Yep.
Always be ready at the net for the easy play.
There's a ding shot that scores, gives IPFW another point. They lead 12-9 here in game 1. I believe, Mark, that for IPFW to be successful and finally get off the schneid against Northern Kentucky, they're going to have to play tremendous backcourt defense and dominate at the net, both offensively and defensively with stuff blocks and good touches.
Probably the two things that the coaching staff for IPFW has been working on last spring in the offseason and all this fall is blocking and serving. And blocking, of course, is something we hope to see a lot of tonight. In fact, Kelly Hartley said that they have blocked well against most teams they've played this year.
And they've also outdug all their opponents this year. There's a backslide well run by Denise Barhouse.
Typically, a good blocking team will also be a good digging team because the blockers take the tough ones away. And the back row defense has the easier, more direct shots to play.
They give the channel right to the backcourt people.
That's right.
Here's a nice short serve. Trouble for IPFW. And point, great serve, number 15, Julie Hathorn. We're tied now at 12 here in game 1. Hathorn, the senior out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Deep float serve. And that sails long, service error. Jenny Miller will come back into the front court. Sarah Leffers out.
We have probably our shortest front court right now.
Back to serve number 12. Melissa Meinhardt. Oh, straight down, number 7, Cammie Walter, the sophomore with some heat. 13-13.
I think that play, Ryan, showed what Coach Carlos Chia has really been working with this team to have a high tempo, fast tempo, I should say, offense where the pass is direct. It's below the tape even, below the net. The set is low, and the attacker is ready on a first or second tempo type of set.
Oh, heat by Gastrick, great up by Brown. And there's a throw. Number 13, Lindy Bankowski. She's a freshman setter for third-year head coach Kelly Hartley. That time a little chalk in it out of both hands, non-simultaneously.
Setters can get away with a lot, but they have to at least make it look believable, don't they?
Is there a lot of pressure as a freshman setter, you think, Mark?
Oh, I would think there'd have to be, Ryan. I don't know. It seems to me that when you come into a new program, the ball's outside the antenna. You come into a program, you're new to it, and in this case, the team is fairly new. The freshmen can't even set in with a bunch of older hitters that are experienced and have a schedule that you're used to, a conference schedule. So everything's so different here. But I think it puts extra pressure on a young freshman setter.
Bankowski, Lindy Bankowski, filling the footsteps of grad assistant coach Tammy Ish, IPFW's all-time leader in set assists. Those are some shoes to fill there.
Well, we've had just a whole string of excellent setters in this program, going all the way back to the beginning of the program.
And a lot of new familiar faces, Mark, of course, with the graduation of Tammy Ish, Courtney Boysonet, and Laura Douglas, IPFW's all-time leader in both kills and digs. The team, again, very respectable 7-6 record to start the season.
Are we taking a timeout here because the scoreboard's
we have a little delay. The scoreboard has gone out on us. At last check, I had 14 serving 13. IPFW presents author and teacher Cornell West as part of the Omnibus Lecture Series on Thursday, October the 25th. Dr. West, who teaches at Harvard University, has published 15 books, including The War Against Parents, which he co-authored with Sylvia Ann Hewlett, and The Future of American Progressivism. Co-authored with Roberto Unger. Admission and parking are free. That's Cornell West at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, October the 25th in the Wald Student Union at IPFW.
Announce the score every so often until we can get the scoreboard situation corrected. Do you have a flip chart too? Okay, we'll do it that way. All right.
That was
appreciate it. Okay.
That was referee Mark Schlotter's voice talking to Coach Kelly Hartley, explaining what's going on. Without a scoreboard, we're going to go ahead and play. The official public address announcer, Brian Miller, will announce the score regularly, and they're looking for an old style flip chart to put up for the fans to see in the benches.
Ones that I used to have in elementary school. Nonetheless, we'll play on. IPFW having trouble receiving serve. Free ball, Northern Kentucky. Left side, Gastright. Here's an overpass. Onto Smart and well done. Number 10, Bethany Gastright. Leads Northern Kentucky in kills. About 4 a game. Far and away the most attempts on the North squad. Here's Janelle Pollard, and she gets the touch. The freshman out of Southside High School right here in Fort Wayne. Nice high, deep shot. Here's the setter for IPFW, Lindy Bankowski. Oh, easy serve right in the breadbasket that time. Overpass. And the easy dink by number 12, Denise Barhos.
That's our second dig that actually the ball was played well. It's just that the dig went over the net rather than staying on our side. So it's half good, half bad in a situation like that.
Pollard jamming it off the block. Another point to IPFW. It is now 15 serving 17. IPFW trailing here in game one. Tight set, Brown with the dink. 16 now serving 17. IPFW within one. Of course, with Raleigh's score, you want to stay close.
Absolutely.
5 points or more. Trouble to get back, especially with Raleigh's score, point on every play. That comeback factor is almost eliminated.
And with every serve scoring, even if you get like within one and then give a side out, you're down 2 again.
Left side, Chrissy Miller. And no touch. That ball is long. Another point to Northern Kentucky. They lead 19-60. Serving is number 1, Amber Timmons, the freshman out of Muncie, Indiana. Short serve. There's the let serve.
There's the let serve, exactly.
Great shot. Jenny Miller with the facial there.
The let serve really causes the offense to freeze for a minute because they're not sure where the ball's going to go, and sometimes that can be fatal. This time we passed the ball well and ran our play.
Believe it or not, I think it's a good rule.
I think it is too.
Keeps the ball in play.
Nice block.
Great coverage, though. And we're going to call a replay on the serve.
I think there was a quick whistle, I think, is what caused it.
Yeah, quick whistle.
I think he may have thought he saw a lift, Ryan. I think that's what Dave Sines blew his whistle for, but there was no lift.
Oh. Nice placement shot that time by Julie Hathorn.
And we have our scoreboard back.
Yep, 20 serving 17. Northern Kentucky in front here in game one. Glad that you're with us here on College 56. Miller. Oh, easy roll shot that time. Back set, nobody up. Another overpass. And Gomez, number 4, with her 5th kill.
That's 3 now. 3 overpasses on digs that cost us.
IPFW touching a lot of balls defensively, but not controlling them.
Well, in that case, the blockers were faked out, and it was one-on-one. It was good that you got the ball up at all. Well, there's another miscommunication.
That time, and head coach Kelly Hartley wants timeout. Northern Kentucky leads here in game one, 22-17. Learn more about Mastodon sports and season by tuning into the Mastodon Spotlight each Wednesday and Friday here on College 56. The hour starts off with our colleague Mike Maas reviewing the week's sports activities, looking at game footage and talking with the coaches. That's Wednesdays and Friday evenings at 8 o'clock p.m. right here on College 56. Mark, IPFW trailing by 5. What do they need to do to get back here in the first set?
Well, they have to go back to their game plan, which is serving tough. But even so, their problems are occurring on their side of the net. Primarily in the back row, they're either miscommunicating as who's playing a ball, or they're not controlling it when they bring it up. So that's where they're going to have to focus on those. That 5-point gap, you can point to probably 4 of those occurring in the back row on misplays. No, I can point to 5 because we had 2 balls drop and then the 3 overpasses.
Serving for Northern Kentucky is number 10, Bethany Gastright, the captain. There's a great pass by Leffers. Little combination play. Nice coverage by Brown, left side. And that ball is out of bounds as it hit the antenna. Another point to Northern Kentucky. It's now 23-17. Northern Kentucky just serving tough now. Easy free ball. Nice dig, Pollard in the backcourt. Miller down the line. That's a good shot for Chrissy Miller.
The set dropped inside, and it was off the net. She had to come in, and then she pulled it back across her body, took it down the line.
Chrissy Miller, the transfer senior out of Fort Wayne, right here out of Concordia High School.
She played with my daughter there one year. My daughter was a senior when Chrissy was a freshman.
Number 4, Luisa Gomez, serving 25-28. There's a short serve that won't clear the tape. Point IPFW here in rally score play. IPFW's got to put together a few rallies, control those digs in the backcourt. Here's a look at Chrissy Miller, number 4. And the put away there by number 7, Cammie Welter. Remember, Cammie Welter a year ago had one of the most phenomenal matches I've ever seen as a freshman here at IPFW. Led her team in kills that match.
Not sure what the score is, Ryan.
Score's correct, 25-18. At least that's what the score clock says.
They just reset the Northern Kentucky score.
There's a big blast out of Pollard.
Mike Moss sitting next to me here has an extra point for us. Yeah, now they caught up with Mike. We've got a real problem here. I'm not sure exactly what's causing it.
And again, we'll have a little stoppage in play as we try to
explain what happens with the score. There's an official scorekeeper, and whatever she says goes, even if she's wrong. But then there's a public scoreboard operator who has to stay up with the scorekeeper. Everybody's keeping score on the bench. You're keeping it, Ryan. Mike Moss next to me is keeping it. And when everybody gets different scores, which is easy to do in rally scoring, you spend a lot of time arguing over the score.
Absolutely. All set? Okay, we're all right now with the score. Northern Kentucky 25, IPFW 20. We rally to 30. First 4 games. 5th set, we rally to 15 if need be. Must win by 2, no cap. Welter with the high heat. I just love the way she plays. Number 7, Cammie Welter.
There's a 6-point gap now, which in rally is very difficult to make up. So really what you have to focus on is building some momentum. If you get some breaks, you can come back and maybe win this game. Otherwise, you get prepared for game 2.
I always thought the key, Mark, back in the old playing days, for rally score, it's just blocking and defense, And right now, IPFW having difficulties controlling the ball defensively.
Yeah, rally scoring.
They blocked well, though. They blocked well.
Well, rally scoring, if you have in the men's game, which is a side-out game, rally scoring is a whole different situation than here, where it's a transition or a rally back and forth kind of game. And in that case, ball control is absolutely essential. Where in the men's game, it's serving and passing that matters the most.
There's an overpass. Unfortunately, we couldn't put it down. And that shot is out of bounds by Bethany Gastright. So 22 points now for IPFW. as they serve to Northern Kentucky with 27. The setter, number 13, Lindy Bankowski from Temperance, Michigan. Here's a backslide, nice touch, chance here for IPFW. Pollard, tight set. And it finds the floor. Nice roll shot by Janelle Pollard.
She was a little early, and she had to do something, and she did the right thing. She ran it off about 6 sets of hands, so you knew that they were going to have 4 hits eventually.
23 serving 27. They're serving Gomez. Little dink. Unfortunately, couldn't be played up by Deanna Brown. Point number 28 for Northern Kentucky. 2 away from taking the first set. Serving is number 5, Sarah Taylor, the sophomore out of Louisville, Kentucky. Pollard. Oh, nice coverage play. Walter. Nice dig by Meinhardt in the backcourt. Pollard again.
It's a nice set from her knees.
Pollard, great play there.
That's really the first long rally we've had tonight, I think. Hasn't it been, Ryan?
Before the score clock went out. Chasing Brown. Nice play there. Here's Miller. And the little soft dig scores. IPFW creeping within 3. 25 serving 28. Janelle Pollard to serve again. Nice serve out wide. Free ball. Should be a point here.
Nice pass.
And Brown hit it out. Oh, 2 crucial hitting errors there by senior Deanna Brown. Gives Northern Kentucky set points. Amber Timmons is substituted in for the serve. Oh, there's a shank. And that's how game 1 will end. Northern Kentucky 30, IPFW 25. We'll be back with the start of the second set right after this. You're watching IPFW Women's Volleyball action right here on College 56 Sports.
With over 30 years of dedication to his students, Professor of Geosciences Deepak Chowdhury recognizes the IPFW experience.
He doesn't spoon feed you all the information that you need. He mostly will give you all of the knowledge that you need in bits and pieces. And it's almost like a puzzle where he gives you all the pieces, and in the end you'll put it together and have the larger picture yourself. I really enjoy it. He's a great professor to work with and for.
IPFW is one of only 3 universities in the state to offer students hands-on experience with their own seismograph. This gives Dr. Chowdhury great pride, but it is the interaction with his students that has kept him teaching.
When the students understand the concept, what's happening, that glimmer of light in their eyes, that you cannot trade for any money. So that's the most important thing.
IPFW, the right school, right here, right now.
I really wanted to go for an Indiana University business degree.
But with housing and tuition, it really adds up, and the money just wasn't there to go away to college.
And with a 2-year-old, my housing options were kind of limited anyway.
And the truth is, I really wanted to keep my job and stay close to home.
Going to IPFW made all that possible.
IPFW? It's the best choice I ever made.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. The right school, right here, right now.
Welcome back to the Hilliard Gate Sports Center, everybody. Ryan Perrott alongside Mark Franke. Northern Kentucky defeating IPFW in the first set, 30-25. Mark Franke, look at the statistics. Anything that stands out for you?
The statistics are kind of informative. They out-hit us 26% to 21%. Gastrite got 17 sets. Our offense was fairly balanced. Chrissy Miller and Deanna Brown each with 12, Janelle Pollard with 9. Our middles together only had 11. I think one of the most important stats was they had 3 service aces. We had none. Digs were about the same, blocks the same. So the problem was that we were having ball handling problems.
We had 3 reception errors in game 1. We're about to get ready to start game 2. On the floor right now for IPFW, Chrissy Miller, Deanna Brown, Melissa Meinhardt, Linda Bankowski, Jenny Miller, and Janelle Pollard. For Northern Kentucky in the front line, Luisa Gomez, Bethany Gastrite, and Denise Barhausch. Serving right now is number 5, Sarah Taylor, the setter, number 7, Cammie Welter, and number 15, Julie Hathorn. Gastrite off the block, nice dig.
She came inside that time, but our blockers were there waiting for her.
Wow, dink after dink after dink.
I've seen Lindy Bankowski now set from her knees several times, and she handles the ball fairly well down there.
1-0 IPFW. Gastrite down the line, another kill for her. 1-1.
Even though we're making her do what we want her to do, she's still good enough that she can pull it off sometimes. But I think that ball was diggable, Ron.
You take a look at IPFW's starting lineup there, Mark. Bankowski, Meinhardt, Pollard. 3 out of the 6 freshmen.
And sometimes they start a 4th freshman. So it's a young team. Obviously, the coaching staff is building for our future Division I competition. We don't know what kind of conference we're going to be in yet, but someday we'll be in a conference. And so you have to recruit a different kind of player in that respect than maybe what you'd done before.
There's a shank pass by Christy Miller. 3-1 Northern Kentucky leading. Nice serve there by number 1 Amber Timmons, the defensive specialist.
Northern Kentucky's an interesting team too. They've got 4 seniors. Of course, we've seen these girls for years now, and they're very good athletes. But Carlos Chia is recruiting some nice athletes coming up behind them, because next year he's going to have a whole new team, essentially.
Yes.
And so there's these players they've had over the last 2 or 3 years that have led them to conference championships are all going to be gone. But he's picked up some nice players.
Northern Kentucky over the years have won several GLVC championships. Great shot there, number 4, Gomez. Head coach Carlos Chia has done a fantabulous job.
He's been an assistant there for 6 years or so, I think.
6 years, yeah.
So he knows the system, he knows the school, he knows the recruiting area.
Another overpass. This one's going to go out of bounds. 10-4 this season, 5-0 in the GLVC. He's assisted, Carlos Chia is, by Chris Stickley. They just have nice ball control. Another point, 6-2, Northern Kentucky.
And everything's quick.
Yes, quick tempo, fast pace.
Even the pass. The pass is a bullet.
And Kelly Hartley wants another timeout as IPFW trails here in game 2, 6-2. Let's take a break. IPFW trailing here in game 2, 6-2. Back at the Hilliard Gate Sports Center. Northern Kentucky taking game 1, 30-25, leading here in game 2, 6-2. IPFW having trouble with this, the serve of Northern Kentucky. There's another overpass. Free ball, IPFW, Leffers. Left side, Miller. Through the block of Gomez and Hathorn.
I think, Ryan, we're at the opposite end of where IPFW is, but I suspect that what Kelly Hartley told the team then is to settle down, start controlling the ball, let us get back in system, and then we'll worry about trying to take them out of system.
Well, there's a start. The service ace by Deanna Brown. IPFW 4, Northern Kentucky 6. Well, Mark, we had a chance to talk to the coaching staff of IPFW. Head coach Kelly Hartley, assistants Tammy Ish and Colin Leiter, and we talked about it. IPFW, to get off the schneid finally against Northern Kentucky, they're going to have to play great backcourt defense, dominate at the net, but more particularly, just handle the volleyball.
That's right. Volleyball is a ball handling sport in the final analysis. There's a nice dig.
Oh, what a sharp cut. That doesn't go over. Point Northern Kentucky, 7-4. They lead here in game 2. And it should be mentioned, too, Mark, when we did talk to Kelly Hartley before the match, he said, look, I didn't prep the girls to say, hey, this is our rivals. Like in the old days, this is our rivals. She just said, hey, this is just another match. Let's go out, play hard, be competitive. Good things will happen.
What we're seeing here, I think, is a team that has played together on the Northern Kentucky side for a number of years. They have, even though they have a new head coach, he's hardly new to their system. He's been with them the last 6 years, I believe. So things are well oiled on the Northern Kentucky side, and they've always been a good team at putting pressure on the other team simply by flowing smoothly in terms of their own system, offensively particularly. They've been a good serving team. They're good at fundamentals. And you see 4 seniors up against our 3 freshmen.
IPFW holding their own, however. Good 7-6 record to start the year. There's a nice dig by Brown. Miller out of the backcourt. Miller. Nice dig. Gomez. Welter blocked up.
Oh, that looked like... Ooh. Oh, she got away with it.
Got away with that ugly back set.
We're not going to get away with that.
Yeah, Meinhardt into the net. Wanted to hit the overpass, and head coach Kelly Hartley's up. She wanted to throw on that back set by number 4, Luisa Gomez.
One other thing about Northern Kentucky, Carlos Chio told me before the match that the GLVC now has an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, which makes the conference championship even more important. So out of the 4 teams that go to the regional NCAA, 3 of them now will be seeded, or I should say automatic bids to the 3 main conferences in the Upper Great Lakes.
Northern Kentucky undefeated in the GLVC, 5-0. Nice dig by Meinhardt. Into the middle, Miller puts it away. Nice shot by Jenny Miller. IPFW 7, Northern Kentucky 9. IPFW has played from behind the entire match. Very difficult to come from behind in Raleigh's score. Let's see if they can get something together. Little mop up on the floor, perspiration.
When we went to Raleigh score last year in the men's season, I thought it was going to be just terrible. A team would get behind by 5-6 points early and give up. That didn't happen at all. I think Arnie Ball told me that 31 of our games last season were decided by the minimum 2 points. That even when a team got behind, they fought and fought and fought and kept the matches close.
Nice shot by Pollard, sneaking it through the block. IPFW now within 1, and especially for Raleigh's score. And I've got the practice under it and play a couple tournaments into it. I think teams believe that they come out so fast and furious at the beginning. There's a service error by Meinhardt that they forget that you have to play to 30 points.
That's right.
You know, they think that we're still going to 15, the old school, and then, you know, halfway through the game, that's where the decline comes in. Another example of the let serve. Serve can touch the net and go over. That is legal now. Down the line, Gastright, number 10.
And that let serve is important to keeping the balance in volleyball. By going to rally score, using the let serve keeps the balance. So each side of the net progresses at the same rate.
There's a serve by number 7, Cammie Welter. Perfect pass by Deanna Brown. Welter with the dig. Oh, tight set that time. IPFW scrambling. That's a great soft block by Bankowski. The 5-3 setter for IPFW, and Jenny Miller Oh, she's got that spot, and she knows it like the back of her hand.
While we're talking about rules changes, the one rule that the women did not adopt from the men was the libero.
Libero?
And
the libero? Either way it's pronounced.
Or Liberace, as I usually call it. Personally, I don't particularly like that because he was supposed to help the defense. In the men's game, the offense has about a 2 or 3 to 1 advantage. He was supposed to help the defense with that, but it turned out he became the primary passer, and the offense, in fact, got every advantage back and had lost.
Net violation there for IPFW, Jenny Miller. Northern Kentucky 12, IPFW 10.
The other thing that the women have, the men don't, that they really don't need the libero, is that they have that defensive specialist position where you can have 18 total substitutions and unlimited entries.
And of course, height also plays a factor, I believe, in that too. You look at the men's game, it's a game of height, 6'6" and above,
That's
where
right.
You need those shorter players who have, better ball control usually to come in and play backcourt defense, unlike in women's volleyball where,
Right.
Everybody pretty much a median key to play backcourt defense.
Well, typically in the men's game, you'll take the middle out because he's 6'8" or whatever, and not a good ball handler low to the floor. Of course, I remember one middle we had, a 6'7" middle who was our best defensive player on the team.
I wonder who that could be.
I don't know. I think he came from Great White North.
I don't know who that could be.
I don't know, but he was quite a defensive player in his day.
Some guy.
I don't think they'd have taken you out for a libero.
Another overpass costing IPFW. 14-12 now, the Norse leading.
Now we're in what we call the 6-2, the setters in the back row, but that's the kind of thing where what we missed from our setter from last year, from Tammy Ish, when she was in the front row, she never lost those jousts.
She was unbelievable. Look at these passes. Tight again. It's got to be at least 8 overpasses in the match. What they should do is start passing the ball about a foot away from the net. Here's a substitution for IPFW coming into the game, number 7, Amy Grove. Out of the game, number 10, Janelle Pollard. Because IPFW setter Lindy Bankowski is only 5'4", take her off the net a little bit. Let her work those magical hands. Walter with the dig in the backcourt. Brown, there you go. Through the block, nice pass off the net. Deanna Brown able to swing. IPFW now trailing Northern Kentucky 15-13. Sarah Leffers to serve. Roll shot here, chance for IPFW. Miller.
We never got a play developed there, did we?
Tight pass.
That was better.
Oh, what a play. Gastright covering her own soft block. Bankowski backs at. Ooh. Tight hands there. Oh, long rally. And Brown hits it into the tape for contacts. IPFW seems like they're pressing now. And I guess that could happen when you're playing from behind, trailing 16-13 here in game 2.
I think you're seeing some of the experience of the Northern Kentucky team. They know in a long rally, they're the seniors, the other side are the freshmen. And so if they can keep the ball in play, the odds continually go up that the other side will make an error before you do. The women's game requires so much patience in that regard because of the long rallies that you have.
And that's a service ace for the captain, number 10, Bethany Gastright, the 5'11" senior out of Lakeside Park, Kentucky.
There's a difficult coaching spot for Kelly Hartley if we don't side out here.
That ball trickles over the net. Gastright, soft roll. Nice dig, Bankowski. Oh, Timmons digging lips in the backcourt. And Welter goes down the line. Oh.
Well, she's going to call a timeout. That's what I was. She's only got one timeout left, but she has to use it.
Amber Timmons sucking up that heat by Chrissy Miller. Down the line, gives Northern Kentucky 18-13 lead here in game 2. You too can participate in the excitement of Mastodon Athletics by joining the Royal Dons Athletic Association. The Royal Dons is IPFW's official athletic booster organization. Members enjoy benefits such as priority seating at IPFW sports events and visits by the coaches and food and refreshments in the hospitality room. For more information about the Royal Dons, call 481-6643 or write to Royal Dons Athletic Association, 2101 East Coliseum Boulevard, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46805. We're glad you're with us here on College 56 this Saturday afternoon. IPFW taking on Northern Kentucky. I'm Ryan Perrott alongside my broadcast partner, Mark Franke. Northern Kentucky took the first set 30-25, and they're leading here in game 2, 18-13. Shank pass by Leffers, and this has been the story, one of the stories.
One of the problems
reception
there
of IPFW and the overpasses.
Sarah Leffers planted her feet and tried to lean into that pass. You just can't do that.
IPFW needs to settle down, get their composure. Nice shot there by Chrissy Miller.
It's very important for the back row player to play the ball first with her feet, essentially. She needs to move to be in position. And passers, they like to dig in, and they don't like going back, so they start back as far as they can get away with it without the coach bringing them up.
Down the line. Wow. Number 7. Cammie Welter, who, by the way, has a goofy-footed approach on the left side, Mark, if you'd like to explain that to our audience.
You approach with the wrong foot. You're kind of backwards.
Usually when you're right-handed, left, right, left.
Yep.
She goes right, left, right.
Your final step should be with the opposite foot from your arm swing. But it works for her.
Makes it deceiving for the IPFW blockers. There's a service ace.
Well, we needed a break. We'll take that.
Serve break right there by Chrissy Miller. Let's see if IPFW can use that momentum booster. They trail by 4, 20-16. Miller. Tight pass.
Oh.
And no touch called. Out of bounds, point IPFW. We're within 3 at 20-17. Welter screaming for a touch. Nice dig, Leffers in the backcourt. Miller out of the pipe, and she hit it wide.
I think maybe, Ryan, we're using Chrissy Miller just a little bit too much right now.
We haven't used a lot of our middles. Miller has come alive here in game 2 a little bit. She's got 4 kills, but we haven't seen a lot out of Melissa Meinhardt, number 12. And, of course, part of that, Mark, is because IPFW is not passing the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not passing the ball particularly well, if not well at all. As number 12, Denise Barhaus, hits the overpass to the floor. Another point, 22-17, the Norse leading the Dons. That serve into the net by number 15, Julie Hathorn.
You go into a match, Ryan, the coach tells the team, here's what we're going to work on, here's what we're going to do that by our playing this part of the game well or being aggressive this way, we will cause harm to the other team. They'll have to change what they're doing. We're beyond that. I mean, that's not even relevant right now because our ball handling is so weak. We're consistently out of system because of it, that we have to focus on getting back fundamentally on our side.
Absolutely.
And then go back to worrying about beating the other team, because right now we're beating ourselves. You can get away with that some nights, but not against Northern Kentucky.
That's right. And you don't want to fall into a huge deficit, 2-0 against these Northern Kentucky ladies. IPFW needs to pull out all the stops here in game 2 to tie it up. They trail 23-19. Pollard jams it off the block. Nice coverage play. Pollard again, left side. And it hits the floor. Point IPFW.
We were talking a minute ago, Ryan, about middles in the back row. Mo Meinhardt has done some nice ball handling back there. Normally she would come out for the defensive specialist, but in this case they let her play all the way around.
All the way around, which is very rare, of course.
We'll have to ask her who her hero is. She'll probably say Ryan Perrott. Models her whole game
I don't think she's ever heard of that
the
guy.
Rock.
I don't think she's ever heard of that guy. Kelly Hartley saying earlier this week that Melissa Meinhardt flat out is the best athlete on this IPFW women's volleyball team. She's been quiet, though, offensively here today. Oh, that's a great dig, but a net violation. Oh, what a dig, Nicole. Ray in the backcourt.
Melissa Meinhardt was part of a 2-for-1 package because she and Lindy Bankowski were at the same high school, and Kelly was able to recruit them together.
Bedford High School out of Temperance, Michigan. So they do have chemistry together, which is good for IPFW.
Oh.
Overpass. Oh, that's going to be
got to be. Oh.
Good call there. Rolled off.
I think every coach on the Northern Kentucky bench right now has his head in his lap. We had no blockers up, and we didn't bury the ball. He's thinking, and then we mishandle it when it comes back. The overpass comes back.
21 serving 24. Roll shot. Another tight overpass.
Well, they made it back there.
Barhorse makes them pay with the overpass.
Of course, you remember who the coach who would get most upset about overpasses. Coach Denny Johnson.
On the IPFW men's squad.
That's right. He thought every overpass ought to be a point.
There's a huge block. Number 4, Luisa Gomez, against her number rival, Chrissy Miller.
There's not been a lot of blocking in this match. Game 1, it was 2-2. That's really the first straight down block we've seen in a long time.
Miller. IPFW in transition. Oh, tight set though. That's not a tight set. Down the line again. Bethany Gastrite.
That whole sequence there was run by their opposite. The setter was handling the first ball, and so Luisa Gomez had to set for them.
Both Welter and Gastrite loves that line shot. 27-21. Miller off the hands. Wow, Miller seeing a lot of balls, but not quality sets, and that's another lift called on Northern Kentucky, this time number 15, Julie Hathorn.
I think you're right on both counts about Chrissy Miller. She is getting probably way too many balls.
A lot of sets.
And very few of them are plays being run. They're just release sets, and she's half the time standing still and just jumping straight up the swing.
No approach, hitting the ball behind her head. You're not going to be very effective when you're doing that offensively.
No, you really need the approach to get some power into your shot.
28-22, Northern Kentucky leading. Substitution, Deanna Brown back in for number 11, Lindsey Brammer.
I think if we see a game get close here at the end, Lindsey Brammer will come in for the setter as a blocking sub.
That shot is wide by Chrissy Miller, and it gives Northern Kentucky a host of set points here in game 2. Chasing Gastrite. She gets it. Timmons plays it over. Chance, IPFW.
That should have been a middle right there. Should have been a quick. We got away with 4 hits.
Off the hands. Chance right here for set 2. Back set. Gomez. Got it. Luisa Gomez puts it away and gives Northern Kentucky a 2-0 lead over IPFW.
That last play, Ryan, just absolutely called for a quick attack out of the middle, and it didn't get set.
IPFW trails Northern Kentucky 2 games to none. We'll take a break and come back with more IPFW women's volleyball action right here on College 56 right after this.
Dr. Matthew Kubik is an architectural engineering professor at IPFW who utilizes his experience to teach his students one-on-one.
So it's really shoulder-to-shoulder learning that we're looking at problems together for the first time.
Dr. Kubik also is the director of the honors program at IPFW. His ability to teach on a personal level allows him to educate to the needs of his honors students.
They want more conversation. They want a closer contact with professors. They want interactive learning in the classroom.
He is thankful for the advantages of a combined classroom of young students and students who are returning to college after years in the workplace.
That mix of students creates a classroom environment that is exciting, that's vibrant.
IPFW, the right school, right here, right now.
I wanted to study engineering so I could get a better job without giving up the job I've already got.
Of course, getting a degree without going into debt was pretty high on my list, too.
And I wanted the kind of education that I could only get in smaller classes with the professor's full attention.
IPFW offered me all of that. And the Purdue engineering degree is going to look pretty good on my resume.
Going to IPFW is the best choice I ever made.
IPFW, the right school, right here, right now.
Welcome back to the Hilliard Gate Sports Center, everyone. Ryan Pratt alongside Mark Franke. Northern Kentucky leading IPFW in women's volleyball action 2-0 by the scores of 30-25 and 30-22. Mark, we were just handed the statistics, and looks very grim for IPFW.
Well, there's some very telltale statistics here. First of all, the hitting after game one was fairly close. They were out hitting us 27 to 21%. They've stayed about at 27%. They dropped just barely. We've dropped down to 17%. Difference in kills of 3. That, of course, is 3 points. We've made some service aces, which helps, but they've gotten up to 6, 3 more points. That's a 6-point advantage right there. Total team blocks. 7 blocks for Northern Kentucky, 3 for us, 4 more. There's 10 points. That's pretty much the difference in the first 2 games. So those kinds of things are very important to think about as you look at overview the entire match. What is it that we're being hurt in? Is it one area or is it a lot? In our case, it's a lot of areas. Although the one that is interesting, I would never suspected this, they only have outdug us by 2, 48 to 46. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Which is very close. IPFW, 12 hitting errors to Northern Kentucky's 8. And of course, service reception errors costing IPFW 6-3, especially in Raleigh's score, where there is point per play.
It comes back to the ball handling, as we talked about, Ryan. Our ball handling has been suspicious. In fact, it's broken down completely for stretches of 4 or 5 or 6 points.
Absolutely.
And in Raleigh's score, that can open up enough of a gap that you cannot come back, especially if it's mid-game or beyond.
Absolutely. Bethany Gastright leads Northern Kentucky in kills. She has 13 kills on 36 attempts. Luisa Gomez has 7 kills on 18 attempts for a 33% clip. And Cammie Welter has done a nice job also from the left side, 6 kills in 19 attempts. Mark for IPFW.
Here's an interesting statistic. We talked about Bethany Gastright, of course, one of the top hitters in the Midwest. 13 kills, 2 errors out of 36 attempts for 30%. Now, our equivalent, Chrissy Miller, we talked about all the sets she was getting. She's got 8 kills, but 5 errors out of 32 attempts, a 9% hitting percentage. So the 2 top hitters are getting about the same number of balls, but we talked about the quality of the sets Chrissy Miller was getting compared to what Bethany Gastright is seeing.
And of course, the quality happens to coincide, of course, with the ball control of IPFW. So far, not too good in the match against Northern Kentucky. Taking a look at the statistics for IPFW, Chrissy Miller leads with kills, 8 kills. Deanna Brown and Jenny Miller each share with 6 kills apiece. Janelle Pollard, has 7 kills in 21 attempts. No errors for her, 33%.
Here's something in the middle, Ryan. Of course, Jenny Miller and Melissa Meinhardt are our 2 middles. Jenny Miller, as you noticed, in game 2 was getting into the offense. She's now 6-1 and 11. 6 kills, 1 error, 11 attempts, 45%. That's what you want out of a middle. If she can get up in the 78%, she'll be hitting like you used to. The other middle, Melissa Meinhardt, who we've talked about what a great recruit she is, what a great athlete, has only seen 7 sets, doesn't have a kill. She's hitting below 0 because she has 2 errors. So effectively, you've taken the middle out of the offense on 3 rotations, half the match.
The telecast of this IPFW women's volleyball match today is brought to you in part by Pizza Hut of Canterbury, featuring famous Pizza Hut pizza. And of course, usually in volleyball, you'd like to have the middles hit at a high percentage. Anything over usually 30%. Of course, 40 to 50% is outstanding. IPFW not able to get that done today because of their ball control. But on the other hand, Northern Kentucky, with their fluid passing and of course their outstanding ball control, impeccable ball control, able to do that here today. And of course, this is no huge story if you followed women's volleyball, especially this rivalry over the past several years. The offense of Northern Kentucky over those years, just so prolific.
Well, going
amazing.
back to the middles, like you say, in the women's game, you certainly want them over 30%. Women's hitting percentages are lower than men's because of the rally nature, the back and forth nature. Our middles have 18 attempts out of 97. So even though Jenny Miller's hitting a nice percentage, she's not seeing enough balls.
Right.
And she won't see many more balls until our passing improves.
We're about ready to start game number 3. Let's check the lineups for IPFW in the front court. Deanna Brown, Janelle Pollard, Jenny Miller. In the back court, Chrissy Miller, Melissa Meinhardt, and Lindy Bankowski. For Northern Kentucky, Sarah Taylor, Bethany Gastrite.
Actually, I was hoping we would have seen a sub in the setter over Northern Kentucky. They have a highly touted freshman setter who hasn't played yet. Would have liked to have seen Katie O'Toole come in.
Denise Barhouse also in the front row. And right where they left off, Bethany Gastrite out of the left side, 1-0 quickly.
One thing we didn't mention earlier about Northern Kentucky is that they push the swing hitter, where typically you push the middle. That means that the setter will serve immediately after a middle serves. I think probably that hit the antenna. I think probably that's just because that allows them for a quicker offense. Remember, we did that back in the early 90s with Raul Papaleo to allow him to have a quicker type of offense because of his speed. And I think that's by design. They think they can get a much quicker offense by pushing the swing.
Nice coverage there.
But it is very rare.
Of course, it helped the IPFW men's volleyball team as they went to 4 NCAA Final Four appearances back in the early 90s. There's a nice set. A little coverage play, miscommunication, another block, 3-0. Northern Kentucky just wrapping up the final 3 players on the court for Northern Kentucky. Cammie Walter, Luis Gomez, and Julie Hathorn. Here's Sarah Taylor, the setter. Sophomore out of Louisville, Kentucky. Down the line goes Pollard. IPFW on the scoreboard, but again, Mark, take a look at the score. It's IPFW 1, Northern Kentucky 3. They're playing from behind again.
Starting a hole.
Off the hands, nice play there by Chrissy Miller. And that shot is long by Gastrite, just missing on the long. That time I watched the approach of Chrissy Miller on the left side. Looked like perhaps starting to fatigue a little bit. She didn't get enough energy to get off the floor. A feeble attempt at a cross-court shot. Oh, nice try there by Pollard.
That was a nice tip. That was a very nice tip.
Northern Kentucky 4, IPFW 2.
The other thing about rally scoring, we talk about getting into a hole. In traditional scoring, you can stop the other team from scoring just by playing defense. So you can freeze the other team, so to speak, at a certain point in the match while you straighten out and start scoring yourself. With rally, you can't. You cannot keep them from scoring. They will score. And so you don't have the amount of time to sort out problems. Of course, the switch was made because that got kind of boring. If you spend 15 minutes with nobody scoring, fans would get upset with the match.
Especially internationally when matches go about 4 or 5 hours. Oh, 4 or 5 hours in the stands, not bad. There's a stuff block by number 4, Chrissy Miller. IPFW 3, Northern Kentucky 5. IPFW needs a spark. They need something to get them going. Let's see if number 3, Sarah Leffers, can get the job done. The defensive specialist out of Southside High School.
That doesn't help.
Crucial service error, however.
Remember, we talked before the match, you thought that we ought to serve short against Northern Kentucky, and I asked Colin Leiter, who calls serves for us. He said no, he was not going to do that. He was going to have them serve aggressively deep, but into the gaps. He thought if he could keep the back row passers, the passers back there who are in the offense, deep and moving laterally, that it would help.
There's a lift on Pollard on the coverage play. It's good strategy, but right now I think Northern Kentucky, well, I don't need to think. You can see it, Northern Kentucky just handling the serve of IPFW so well that I've always believed that serve hits the line. Oh, everything going right for Northern Kentucky. I just think when you serve short, you just take the hitters out of their offensive groove.
You have to have confidence in your servers to do that.
Northern Kentucky 9, IPFW 3 here in set number 3. We'll take a break and come back with more IPFW women's volleyball action in a moment. IPFW on the verge of being swept here today against Northern Kentucky, trailing 2-1 and 9-3 here in the third set. Unless something comes to IPFW, and in a hurry. Meinhardt unable to do anything with that tight set.
I asked Coach Carlos Chia before the match, what is the most important thing you're worried about right now? What does your team need to do today? He said, be consistent. We're just so inconsistent all year. I think he's accomplished that. They've not had many breakdowns over there.
They were rarely geared to play IPFW today, that's for sure. They may not be in the same conference anymore, but the rivalry still is there for Northern Kentucky.
Especially with our being a Division I program, their beating us helps.
Right.
They beat a Division I program.
Another point for Northern Kentucky. They lead 11-3 here in game 3, and IPFW trying to get things together.
Going back to the serving issue, Ryan, where you feel we should be serving short right now. Clearly that would disrupt their patterns over there. But if your players aren't confident, the short serve takes more confidence than any other serve. And if your players are losing confidence like ours are,
that's true.
It's very dangerous to call that. And I think that's probably why Colin won't do it.
Deanna Brown, the senior out of Moreland, Indiana. And Walter, easy tap down for her.
We had both wings standing upright on that play. They weren't low, ready to move vertically or laterally so that they could help.
Gomez with the floater. Here's Miller. And that cross-court attempt is wide. Another point to Northern Kentucky, 13-4. And substitution into the game, number 7, Amy Grove, for number 4, Chrissy Miller. Let's see if Amy can get something going for IPFW. Of course, now the margin. 9 points in Raleigh score. It'll be tough for IPFW to come back. Let's see if they can do it. If you recall, a year or two ago, they were down 2-0 against Northern Kentucky, and they won games 3 and 4 to force a 5th and deciding set.
We've had some exciting matches.
Oh, absolutely. One of the best rivalries,
we've almost always
I believe.
Broadcast because it's the end of the season. It's usually on a Saturday afternoon.
And I truly believe that one of the best rivalries in all of women's collegiate athletics, especially in women's volleyball.
Well, certainly when we played it, we usually had we had the number 1 seed of the conference tournament on the line, the NCAA bid. Both schools are very much alike. They're a state university like we are, about the same size in student population. But when we came into this conference, Ryan, it was Lewis who had basically ruled the conference, and we came in, and if you look up at the banners up there on the wall, you'll see a whole string of conference championships. And Northern Kentucky came in, and the rivalry changed.
Couple substitutions, IPFW, Jenny Miller into the front court, also with Lindsay Brammer. She comes in for Lindy Bankowski.
That's that blocking sub that I talked about earlier.
Melissa Meinhardt, nice tough float serve. Look at that roll shot, what control. Bethany Gastright, well done. Another point to Northern Kentucky, they lead 15-6. Here's Cammie Walter serving, number 7. Meinhardt, left side, Pollard. And that's a perfect shot on the line. Nice and deep. Back to serve number 3, Lindy Bankowski. Number 13, rather, Lindy Bankowski. Oh, line, more line. Gastright and Welter down the line. Seems to be their pattern. Another kill for number 10, Bethany Gastright. IPFW unable to dig some of those balls. There's a tight pass. See ya. IPFW now trailing by 10. 17-7 here in game 3. They trail 2 games to 1, so they can't afford to lose another. Oh, service ace. That ball just fell off the table.
I had a lot of topspin on that.
What a float serve by number 5, Sarah Taylor.
Problem is when the passer starts leaning forward, she can't do anything but keep leaning. She's not going to move her feet at that point. So you just fall down and hope you can touch it.
Yeah, Melissa Meinhardt was off balance that time. What a serve.
Yeah, that thing almost dropped like a baseball curve.
Pollard through the block. Nice shot there by Janelle Pollard, the freshman. Amy Grove checks back in the front court for Nicole Ray. There's a service ace by Pollard. The shank on number 7, Cami Welter.
We couldn't tell from being the side of the court here, but that ball must have had a lot of left and right movement. There's the banner we were talking about earlier. Oops, back down.
Down the line, Gastright again. We can take a look at that banner again. Of course, of the GLVC's championships. Eight-time GLVC champions, our IPFW women's volleyball program over the years.
That's with several coaches.
Arnie Ball, Tim Heffron.
Lisa Horman.
Lisa
Sheehan at the time.
Lisa Sheeman at the time, yes. Northern Kentucky 19, IPFW 10. Sarah Leffers with the float serve. There's a dig, but it's wide of the antenna. Point Northern Kentucky. They're 10 points away now from taking the match. Tight pass. It's just murderous. Tight pass, tight pass, tight pass. There's nothing the 5'4" setter, Lindy Bankowski, can do about it.
You need a tall setter to handle something like that.
Absolutely. The only thing she can do is hope and pray that the ball hits her on the joust coming over. Grove. First offensive attempt into the net. And Kelly Hartley wants timeout. Northern Kentucky 22, IPFW 10. Follow the Mastodons this year as student host Heather Gaston and yours truly Ryan Perrott and student producer Alicia Bradley bring you weekly Mastodon highlights and scores in 10 minutes or less each Tuesday and Thursday evenings at 5:50 and 8:50 p.m. right here on College 56. And to pass along some other IPFW scores of note, the women's soccer team defeated Moorhead State this afternoon, 6-2. Nice win for our women's soccer team. It's been a very impressive year, I believe.
Excuse me, Ryan, there's that banner.
Absolutely.
See, 8 GLVC championships in 13 years, 4 NCAA bids. Now, those were all at-large bids. The conference did not have an automatic in those days. So that's quite a history for this program.
There's our last championship, regular season championships.
By the way, I think that team
2000.
was the first one to both win a conference championship and go to the NCAA tournament, the women's volleyball program.
Down the line, nice shot there by Deanna Brown. Just want to mention that it's been a great season so far for IPFW athletics, both the women and men's soccer teams. Very competitive under a Division I schedule. Happened to catch out the soccer showcase, which was a treat because I'm a huge soccer fan and I can't wait for the World Cup to get here.
But I thought you were a huge hockey fan.
That too. Starts on Tuesday, but who's counting? Both the women and men's soccer teams, outstanding job. A big win for IPFW. Women's soccer this afternoon against Moorhead State, 6-2. Can't wait to catch some more of that soccer action. Of course, tennis as well. And in a couple months, that shot hit the antenna by Amy Grove. That's out of bounds. 23-12, Northern Kentucky leading. And of course, in a couple months, the person sitting beside us will take over the helm as IPFW basketball gets started, both men and women's.
That's Mike Moss,
Mike
the
Moss,
voice of the Dons.
Voice of the basketball scene here at IPFW.
The basketball will be interesting. We have a new women's coach, Bruce Patterson, an old fraternity brother of mine when we were students here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He came over from St. Francis. Excellent coach. Great track record at St. Francis. Of course, Doug Knowles had a nice recruiting season, and we hope that the men's team will be a force to be reckoned with after having a disappointing year last year.
A lot of excitement in the air for both the men and women's basketball teams. Of course, I will help out with Mike Moss.
Going to help the Iron Man over here?
I'll help out with Mike. And of course, Charlie Washington will do the men's as well with Mike Moss. Should be a lot of fun. That's coming up in November.
Charlie Washington, I believe, was our first four-letter NCAA athlete. Got
Really?
4 letters, graduated. First one when we joined the NCAA.
Wow.
Worked here for quite a while. Now he's not employed by the university anymore, but still comes in and helps with Channel 56.
Nice rally there, but Welter puts it into the net. As Johnny Carson would say, I did not know that. I did not know that. Mark Franke, I did not know that.
Charlie doesn't like me saying that everywhere I go, but I'm pretty sure that's true. I've been here a long time, and I remember things like that.
24-14 Northern Kentucky here in set number 3. There's a lift on Jenny Miller. 5 points away now, Northern Kentucky.
What we really need to do is cut this lead, even if we don't win this game. You have to have some pride, and if you're having a bad night and you're going to lose, you want to make the other team fight to win.
Absolutely. Get ready. IPFW will take on Valparaiso on Tuesday, October the 2nd at 7 p.m. here at the Gate Sports Center.
And we've beaten them once, haven't we?
On the road at Valpo in 5. So
we've had a very competitive season. We've been competitive nearly every night.
Absolutely. We beat Indiana State in 5. We beat St. Francis out of New York. We've beaten Miami University out of Ohio.
That was at home here.
We beaten Pennsylvania. That was on the road in Dayton.
It's an Ivy League school, Pennsylvania.
So yeah, we've had some very good showings in those other couple matches that we have managed to lose. Let's see, Wright State. We lost in 4, didn't play particularly well, but we were there in those matches. So there are positive signs for third-year head coach Kelly Hartley. Nice shot there by Janelle Pollard. 27-15 Northern Kentucky. Remember, it's a young team. They start 3 freshmen. Here's one of them, the setter, Lindy Bankowski. Overpass.
Oh,
Solberg rejected. As Kirsta Solberg has checked into the front line.
She hit it straight ahead. You just got to be careful about hitting it straight ahead because the blocker on an overpass kill can only go straight ahead on you.
Back to serve number 5, Sarah Taylor. Sophomore setter. She's done a great job.
She's out of one of the top-rated volleyball programs in the country. High school, Assumption High School in Louisville.
It's my high school, Assumption High School.
Not in Louisville.
Oh. Nice dig. Ray. Here's Pollard. Oh, look at that handcuff dig by Walter. Little spear dig there by Meinhardt. Free ball. Northern Kentucky. Combination play. Oh, nice dig, Ray. Left side, Gasser, little ding. Oh, the legs tired for Pollard. She didn't get to that ball. What a ding shot by number 10, Bethany Gastrite. Just wanted to mention that Sarah Taylor, the setter for Northern Kentucky, she's come in and set for a Bobby Casey, who did a fabulous job for Northern Kentucky.
We play out a ball go on the floor. Whenever a ball comes close to the floor, the referees immediately stop play because a loose ball is an automatic injury. It's going to hurt somebody.
Match points now, 29 serving 15 for Northern Kentucky. Left side Pollard, tight set. Little dink. Joust coming. Pollard again. Oh, look at the dig. Hathorn in the backcourt. Wow. Transition, Gastrite. Nice dig, Meinhardt. Chance again, back set, Gomez. IPFW playing good defense in the backcourt, staving off elimination. But that will do it Bethany Gastrite jamming it off the block of IPFW.
That was a nice rally, Ryan, being down 14 points, match point. What I talked about earlier, not giving up. They played like it was match point with us ahead. And that's what counts.
Northern Kentucky defeats IPFW in 3, 30-25, 30-22, 30-15. A disappointing showing for IPFW.
Yeah, disappointing. There's no doubt about it. Clearly, Northern Kentucky's a quality program. We've had trouble beating them, as you said, but I think we should have kept this one a little closer than that.
The errors, obviously, with serve reception and the overhand, the over digs to the net just cost them, and Northern Kentucky was able to capitalize, and of course give Northern Kentucky credit because they came out ready to play. They did a fantastic job here on the road, and they keep the streak alive now. 6 years that Northern Kentucky has defeated IPFW. The final scores, IPFW losing to Northern Kentucky 30-25, 30-22, 30-15. IPFW's next match will be here at the Gate Sports Center on Tuesday, October the 2nd against Valparaiso. That match will begin at 7 p.m.
I was hoping we'd get the final stats before we had to go off the air here, but they haven't come out yet.
Just a reminder that you can tune in to College 56 on Sunday evening, September the 30th at 7 p.m. for the replay of today's women's volleyball match with Northern Kentucky. That's Sunday evening, September the 30th at 7 o'clock right here on College 56. Mark, we were just handed the final statistics.
Real quick, our hitting percentage went down to 12%, so 26% to 12%. 12%, you're not going to win any match in rally score anywhere. We were out blocked 12-4, out aced on serves 8-4. Digs still remain fairly even. But the 46-39 advantage they had in kills, that's 7 points, 8 more on blocks, 4 on aces, and you've got half of your problem right there. Those are all issues related to errors. We had 22 errors to 10 of theirs. There's another 10 points.
Right.
So that's 10 points we gave them.
And in rally score, that's just a killer. It's absolutely murderous.
So if you look at the difference in the error side, we've given them 16 points, 14, 16 points based on our own errors and advantage, and then allowed them to take a 15-point advantage in what they did better than we did.
Right.
So there it is.
Checking the high statistics, Bethany Gastrite of Northern Kentucky, she had 21 kills. She was the match high. Only 3 attacking errors by her in 51 attempts. That's for a 35% clip. That's unbelievable.
Quite an athlete.
And then after that, it drops off considerably, but great performances all around by Northern Kentucky. Luisa Gomez had 8 kills in 27 attempts for 26%. Cammie Walter, another fabulous job by her here. 8 kills, 4 errors, 27 attempts. And then Denise Barhoust and Julie Hathorn each with 4 kills. For IPFW, Janelle Pollard came on strong in the latter stages of the match. She had 11 kills, 2 attacking errors, and 38 total attempts. Deanna Brown, 10 kills, also in double digits with 5 attacking errors, 31 total attempts, 16%. Of course, the attacking percentage, though, for IPFW, Mark, 12%. Not going to get the job done.
No, sure isn't.
We hope you enjoyed the telecast here this afternoon here at the Hilliard Gate Sports Center. IPFW losing to Northern Kentucky in 3 sets. Just a reminder that we'll be back on the air at the end of October, October the 28th, to bring you more exciting IPFW women's volleyball action. Like to thank our sponsor at this time. Our program today was sponsored in part by Pizza Hut of Canterbury, featuring famous Pizza Hut pizza. We'd like to thank at this time the College 56 production crew, who always do a fabulous job, the IPFW athletic staff, the City of Fort Wayne, Comcast Cablevision, the IPFW Learning Resource Center, and especially the IPFW Office of University Relations and Communications for their contributions to this College 56 sports telecast. This telecast of IPFW Sports is copyrighted and the sole property of the College Cable Access Center in IPFW. Unauthorized duplication, exhibition, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of this event without express written consent is strictly prohibited. Here's a look, Mark, at, I believe this is match point. Northern Kentucky on the far side.
This will be a long rally, if that's what it is.
IPFW here on the near side.
Nice dig.
Yeah, a couple great digs by Julie Hathorn in the back corner. There's a nice scramble play by Mankowski. just happened to be ball control. That killed IPFW today.
Another dig in the back there. That's Haythorne back there?
Hathorn, yep, Julie Hathorn. And IPFW unfortunate to come up on the losing end of the match against Northern Kentucky here today. Nice dig there by Meinhardt, a little tomahawk dig. Nice diving dig by Ray there on the attempt by Gomez.
Amazing thing is we're clearly out of this match. Look at the hustle we're showing.
That's right, on match point. Down and out, but yet we still played hard to the end. Of course, just those couple errors. For Mark Franke, this is Ryan Prout. We hope you've enjoyed the telecast. We'll see you again soon. So long from the campus of IPFW.